The house is quiet, the clock strikes 12, shadows dancing on the wall. There's a restless ache inside my chest, like I'm waiting for a call. The midnight wind through the window screen sings a lonesome low refrain, and every thought I tried to hide comes whispering my name. I've been counting all my failures like fence posts in a line, wondering if forgiveness is still something I can find. Then the wind moves soft and steady, like a hand upon my skin. There's mercy in the midnight wind, grace that finds me where I've been, when the world is fast asleep and the doubts are closing in. Not a shout but a gentle hymn, calling out my name again. There's mercy in the midnight wind. I've replayed every wrong turn, every word I can't take back, every road I wandered off, every trust I seem to lack. But you don't speak in condemnation, you don't keep a record long. You meet me in the darkest hour and tell me I belong. The wind keeps blowing through the curtains like it's carrying a prayer, and in the stillness of this moment I can feel you there. No spotlight and no crowd, just a broken heart and you. There's mercy in the midnight wind, flowing through my restless skin, when my strength is nearly gone and I'm tired of holding in. You remind me who I am, not defined by where I've been. There's mercy in the midnight wind. To fear these quiet hours when the noise would fade away, 'cause silence has a way of showing everything I try to escape. But now I see it different, now I understand. The midnight ain't a prison, it's just holy ground, where heaven feels a little closer and pride begins to bend, where mercy moves like breathing again and again. There's mercy in the midnight wind, stronger than the weight of sin, through the tears that fall unseen, through the places I've been thin. You are faithful in the dark, where the healing can begin. There's mercy in the midnight wind, blow through the doubt, blow through the shame, blow through the memory, every mistake, blow through the anger, blow through the fear, till all that's left is knowing you're here. In the quiet, in the thin, there is mercy in the wind. There's mercy in the midnight wind, soft enough to let me mend. Not with force, not with fire, but a love that doesn't end. And when the morning light breaks in and a brand new day begins, I'll remember that mercy met me in the midnight wind. Now the clock keeps ticking steady, but my heart is finally slowed. There's a peace I didn't have before, in this quiet, sacred mode. And I know no matter where I go or how this story bends, there's mercy in the midnight wind. There's a gravel road outside of town where the tall grass bends in line. Crickets sing their evening song as the sun begins to hide. I park my truck, step out alone with boots in red clay ground, and let the weight I've carried finally come crashing down. The southern sky is wide and endless, painted purple, blue, and gold. And I feel small beneath the stars, but somehow not alone. With nothing but the wind around me and heaven overhead. It's a prayer beneath the southern sky, no fancy words, no alibi, just a weary heart wide open with tears I cannot hide. You hear me in the quiet when I don't know how or why. It's a prayer beneath the southern sky. I've been fighting silent battles no one else can see, trying hard to be the man that everyone needs me to be. But strength ain't always louder, and faith ain't always strong. Sometimes it's just a broken whisper holding on. I speak your name into the darkness like a lifeline through the night, and the peace that follows after feels like morning light. You don't need a grand cathedral to meet me where I stand. It's a prayer beneath the southern sky with trembling hands lifted high, for my family, for my future, for the fear I keep inside. You don't turn away from weakness, you don't pass my trouble by. You meet me beneath the southern sky. Stars shine like reminders of promises you made. If you can hold the universe, you can hold me in this place. You walked me through the valleys, you carried me through fire, and every time I thought I'd break, you lifted me up higher. So I lay down all my questions, all the doubt I can't explain, and trust the God who knows my heart by every scar and name. It's a prayer beneath the southern sky, where hope begins to rise in the stillness of the evening. I see it in your eyes. You are faithful through the seasons, through every low and high. You answer beneath the southern sky. For the child who's fast asleep, for the bills I cannot meet, for the road I cannot see, be my strength, your hand on me. Let this simple country prayer drift up in the midnight air. You're not distant, you're right here under this southern sky. It's a prayer beneath the southern sky, soft as the breeze passing by. Not a sermon, not a show, just a soul that's learning why. Every time I call your name, you're already by my side, listening beneath the southern sky. Now the moon is climbing higher and my heart feels light again. There's a comfort in surrender that I'll never comprehend. I climb back in that old truck, but I'm not the same inside, 'cause God met me beneath the southern sky. There's a suitcase by the doorway full of miles and memories, boots worn thin from walking through uncertainty. I've chased a lot of highways under borrowed fading light, looking for a place on earth that finally felt right. But every town I settled in left something incomplete, like my heart was always listening for a different kind of street. There's a whisper in the distance calling out my name. I'm homeward bound by faith, not by what my eyes can see. There's a promise on the horizon waiting there for me. Through the valleys and the mountains, through the joy and through the ache, I'm homeward bound by faith. I've stood on hills of blessing, I've knelt in fields of pain. I've seen sunshine after sorrow and drought turn into rain. Every season wrote a story across this weathered soul, but none of them could satisfy the hunger to be whole. This world can feel like passing through, like I'm just traveling on, with a deeper destination that I've known all along. Not a house of brick and mortar, but a place of endless grace. I'm homeward bound by faith, with my hope set on that day when the road gives way to glory and the night turns into day, where no tear will ever fall and no heart will ever break. I'm homeward bound by faith. There are times I grow weary from the journey and the fight, when the weight of living presses and I long for clearer light. But then I feel your spirit like a compass in my chest, reminding me this wandering is not my final rest. You are building something greater than these temporary days, and every step is drawing me closer to that place. I'm homeward bound by faith, even when the path is steep. There's a city built of mercy where your children finally meet, and the scars we carry now will be stories of your grace. I'm homeward bound by faith. When my strength is almost gone, when the road feels twice as long, I will fix my eyes ahead on the words that you have said. You prepare a place for me where my soul is finally free, and until that morning breaks, I will walk, I will not shake. Storms may come, storms may race, but they cannot steal that promised place. I'm homeward bound by faith with a steady, quiet trust, not in riches of this world, not in silver, not in dust, but in the one who walks beside me. Every step I take, I'm homeward bound by faith. So I'll keep traveling onward through the laughter and the pain, with a heart set on forever and a song that will remain. And when I cross that final river, I'll see you face to face. I was homeward bound by faith. There's a quiet in this old farmhouse when the day is almost gone. Just a ticking clock and a worn-out chair and the hum of a distant song. I don't always pray out loud, don't always know what to say. Sometimes all I've got is a broken sigh at the end of a weary day. The fields lie still outside my door under a fading moonlit sky, and I wonder if my fragile words can reach that far on high. But you don't need a shout of faith to know what's on my heart. When heaven hears a whisper, soft as falling rain, when my strength is barely holding and my hope feels thin as grain, you lean close in the silence, you catch every trembling prayer. When heaven hears a whisper, you're already there. I've seen people pray like thunder with fire in their voice. I've seen mountains move in sermons with a bold and fearless choice. But I've also knelt in weakness with tears I couldn't hide, and all I had was help me, Lord, from somewhere deep inside. And in that small surrender, when my pride was stripped away, I felt a peace come over me that words could never say. For you don't measure faith by volume, you measure it by trust. When heaven hears a whisper carried on the midnight breeze, when my heart is tired and heavy, dropping to its knees, if you don't turn from quiet sorrow, you don't wake for perfect prayers. When heaven hears a whisper, you're already there. There were nights I felt forgotten, like my voice got lost in space, like my whispered cries for mercy never reached your throne of grace. But then I'd feel a steady hand calming every fear, and I'd remember you are closer than the air I breathe in here. If you can hear a sparrow fall, if you can calm the sea, then surely you can hear a simple prayer from me. When heaven hears a whisper, mountains don't have to shake. Miracles can still be born from the smallest act of faith. You meet me in the quiet where my broken heart lays bare. When heaven hears a whisper, you are there. In the hush of early morning, in the stillness of the night, in the spaces in between wrong and right, you are listening, you are near to every sigh, to every tear. Not a word is ever wasted, not a prayer is ever small. Heaven bends to hear them all. When heaven hears a whisper, through the cracks of doubt and fear, through the silence of uncertainty, you make your presence clear. And I don't need 1,000 words to know that you still care. When heaven hears a whisper, you are there. So tonight I'll sit in stillness, let my restless heart grow dim, and trust the God who hears the faintest cry that rises up to Him. Even if my voice is shaking, even if my faith feels thin, when heaven hears a whisper, it reaches Him. There's an old dirt trail behind my house, winds through fields of pine. I've walked it since I was a boy, with heavy thoughts in mind. Some days it felt like freedom, some days it felt like fear, but every step along that path, you were always near. The boots worn thin for miles, dust rising in the sun. I didn't always know it then, but you were the faithful one. When the road grew dim and narrow, and I could barely see, it was His light on this old trail, shining when my strength would fail. Through the valleys and the shadows, where my courage turned so pale. Not a lantern made by man, but a love that never fails. It was His light on this old trail. There were seasons I went wandering, chasing after pride. Thought I didn't need a compass, thought I'd be just fine. But the night can fall so quickly when you're walking on your own, and the silence gets so loud when your heart turns into stone. Still, you never left me, didn't let me lose my way. Even when I turned my back, you were lighting up the grave. Through the doubt and through the questions, you were steady as the dawn. It was His light on this old trail, guiding me when hope seemed frail. Through the storms that tried to shake me, through the tears that left a trail. Every stumble, every fall, every story I could tell, it was His light on this old trail. Children, pointing at the sky, telling them about the mercy that met me in the night. I say there'll be days you won't see clearly, when the path feels hard and cold, but trust the one who walks beside you. He'll never let you go, 'cause I've seen too much of heaven to ever turn away. Upon my shoulder, on my darkest days. It's His light on this old trail, brighter than the fiercest gale. Through the years and through the miles, through every tear I've trailed. No matter where these boots may roam, no matter what I face, it's His light and the night feels strong. When the wind cries out like I don't belong, I remember the promise, I remember the flame. The same God who called me still calls my name. Not once has He failed, not once has He turned. Every lesson in the dark was a lesson learned. It's His light on this old trail, soft and steady, never pale. Not a flash that fades away, but a fire that will prevail. And when my final mile is walked and my story's fully told, it was His light that brought me home. So I'll keep walking forward through the dust and through the rain, with a heart that's finally certain not a step has been in vain. For every road I've ever traveled, every valley I have known, was lit by His light on this old trail.